Hello YouTube, CINEMANIACS here, and today I will be reviewing The Great Gatsby, Baz Luhrmann's adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic novel starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Carey Mulligan, Tobey Maguire, Joel Edgerton, and Jason Clarke. The plot follows a aspiring writer and bond salesman Nick Carraway, who played by Tobey Maguire, who lives in a cottage next to his billionaire neighbour Jay Gatsby, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who's sort of like a recluse and has become known for throwing these extravagant wild parties which everyone attends. But Gatsby never attends any of them. And there's one point where Nick gets an invitation to Gatsby's mansion for one of his parties, where he actually meets him, and the two become friends, and he sort of becomes interested in Gatsby's lifestyle and helps Gatsby reunite with his long-lost lover, who is Nick's cousin Daisy, played by Carey Mulligan, who's married to a polo player called Bachchan, played by Joel Edgerton. And yeah, so it's basically Nick travels into Gatsby's life and sort of discovers something like, shady. And that's basically the plot. Now, I went to see this film in 3D, and 3D is only good in some scenes, whereas most of the time it isn't. And a matter of fact, there is actually been some sort of statements from Warner Brothers. Apparently, 33% of the film's gross came from 2D showings, whereas the rest came. Wait, 33% of the rest came from 3D showings, whereas the rest came from 2D showings. So my guess is that everyone liked the 2D version more than they did with the 3D version. So the 3D is good in some of the scenes, although the first 3 minutes of closing credits, there's some, the credits are actually in 3D, so just stick around for that if you're a fan of the gimmicky 3D in-your-face effect. And we'll talk about the direction by Baz Luhrmann. I mainly know that Baz Luhrmann is mainly one of those artistic directors. I mean, if you watch, Moulin Rouge and Australia, he always has to add some sort of colour to it, and especially the editing is sort of all jarring and stuff like that, and there's some 3D effects, like the scene where a dog's in your face, and champagne corks flying around and stuff. And I think this is mainly the first Baz Luhrmann film that I've ever seen in full, because I watched the first half an hour of Romeo and Juliet and had to turn that off because it was just crap. It was set in a modern day setting, and yet they still used this Shakespearean dialogue. They called the guns swords and crap, which didn't really resonate with me. I couldn't really get into it because I had no idea what the hell they were saying. And anyways, let's go into the cast right now. Leonardo DiCaprio is he's a very good actor, and yet he's never been given an Oscar for anything. Now, I've only seen The Aviator, which is one of his Oscar-nominated roles. I've never seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape or Blood Diamond, but I really think that DiCaprio really deserves an Oscar for this, or The Wolf of Wall Street, which is his next film that he's doing with Martin Scorsese. DiCaprio really manages to bring some sort of elegance to the role. I mean, he's playing a young man who's rich, so he's meant to be posh, DiCaprio kind of pulls that off very well. And then you have Tobey Maguire, who's practically, I haven't even seen him in anything since Brothers, and that was released like 4 years ago. You know, he sort of became off the map after those Spider-Man movies, which I do happen to like. I happen to like Spider-Man 3, so don't shoot me or anything. So, I actually think he brings some sort of innocence to the role, because he never really, you know, he's never even involved with anything, you know, illegally with Gatsby. So, it's practically like a comeback for Tom Maguire, because he's never really done anything since Brothers. Although, I think he was one of the producers on Rock of Ages. So, yeah, and also, Terry Mulligan, who brings a sort of innocent at times, but, you know, I mean, she does look beautiful in some scenes, but when it comes to confronting her husband about her love for Gatsby, she's sort of a wimp at times. I mean, come on, man up. Jeez. Also, Joel Edgerton, who plays Tom Buchanan, he kind of brings some sort of like masculinity to the role. You know, just he's just sort of a bit of a hard ass in some sort of ways, and also, you know, he's actually been cheating on Daisy with a woman named Myrtle, played by Isla Fisher, who is married to a character played by Jason Clarke. Now, Joel Edgerton and Jason Clarke both previously worked together in Zero Dark 30. Now, I understand this film had to be like pushed back. It was meant to come out in December 2012, and pushed it back to May 2013. So, if it was released in December, it would have actually just competed with the Oscars. So, yeah. And even though this is like a classic novel, I was sort of expecting, you know, a bit more from it. But all in all, it is actually like a pretty good movie. You know, DiCaprio is pretty good in this film. Tobey Maguire is good. Carey Mulligan, a bit of a wimp. And so, anyways, I give this film mainly about probably a 7 out of 10. So, Cinema Band signing out. I'll see you later. I'll see you next week for my review of The Hangover Part 3.